Hi all. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira and my channel is all about trying new makeup, talking about new makeup, but also finding new and exciting ways to be inspired by the makeup you already own. If that sounds good to you, I hope you will consider subscribing, and if you enjoyed today's video, hitting the like button. Okay guys, so today I'm doing, this is sort of like a renaissance video for me, because the very first video I ever posted on this channel is a video about my favorite palettes for fall. I recently hit 1,000 subscribers. Woo, 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 woo. Very exciting. And I didn't really get a chance to celebrate it because my weekend was insane. We had a health scare with my cat. It was a lot going on. So it happened right around that time and I didn't get a chance to celebrate it. But I thought, a great way to celebrate this momentous occasion is to take it back to where I started, which is a fall palette video. So let's get into it. So I decided I wanted to add to my favorite fall palette video, the original video. Now I stand by all of those palettes. They are fantastic, but I wanted to add to that little list. So let's start off with some of the newer additions to my collection that I think are fantastic fall palettes. And we're going to start with two that are from the same brand. So first up, I used this all summer long, but I also in spring, but I feel like this is a great soft fall palette. And that is let me show you the packaging. That is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nouveau palette with this color story. I used this all summer long and I stand by it, and it looks really muted, but I think these tones work so beautifully for fall as well because they're really soft, but they're still those, like, you get like that ruddy olive and you get like this deep rich burgundy brown satin. You get this sort of duochromy peacock shade. It's called Peacock. And then you get like an army green and the lavender. I mean, honestly, if you take this out, this is a very pretty everyday fall palette. You know what I mean? Like the lavender is really what makes this feel more spring and summery than anything else. And you can do beautiful looks with just these shades and avoiding this one. This one you have this really beautiful burnt orange. My finger got into a little bit of the purple, but you see what I mean? Like this is a really good sort of easy to use everyday, quote unquote, everyday fall palette. Now, if you're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit richer, you then have the newer palette that they came out with, which is the Rose Metals palette. And this one to me is more of a traditional fall palette. You can see the shades are just richer and deeper. You've got like these burgundies, you've got these like golds. This one is like, this is Nova, and Nova is this really beautiful like green based gold. Stunning shade, beautiful, perfect for this time of year. This is a really great palette. I was really quite impressed by this palette. I kind of bought it for science, so to speak. Like I was like, I don't know, but I'm gonna buy it and try it out and see. And I was actually really impressed with the quality and the color story. So I recommend both of these for fall. And then I have to look and see if this is still available, but I really recommend Gemini too. I think that if you're going to do rosy berry tones for fall, this is the story, the color story for you. You've got these muddy, rich, grungy greens, and then you've got these really beautiful, vibrant, like metallics. This one here, Schmood, is just stunning, and it's like a burgundy, but it has like a brown base. So beautiful. And then you've got your berry tone, so you can marry these two together, or you can do them, do separate looks with them. But I think this is a really beautiful fall color story, and I think the original Gemini, which I do own and I should have grabbed, but I recommend that one as well. I think both of those are palettes that kind of work year round, but the grunge factor really, for both of them, really lend themselves to fall, which is funny because this came out in the spring, but I really do think this is more of a fall palette for me. Next up is a palette that not a lot of people like. Some people really didn't like this palette, but I did. I got a lot of use out of it. And I think when I look at it more and more, I'm like, oh, this is a really beautiful fall color story. It came out in the spring, but it is very much, in my opinion, a fall color story. And it is the Natasha Denona Zendo. So this is what it looks like. But I mean, look at these tones. These are fall tones, if ever there were. Like this teal and, you know, this grungy olive and then this muddy brown. And it's literally called, what is this called? This is called Mindful, but I just call it Mud because it's like, it's one of her cream to powder, which is one of my favorite formulas. But I just think of Mud when I look at this in the best possible way. I don't want that to freak you guys out, but in the best possible way. But then I mean, you have these lighter tones, but these colors are very sort of muted, almost grungy, but not. They're a very sort of sophisticated version of a grunge look, a colorful grunge. This is colorful, muted grunge. And yeah, I think this is a great palette for fall. And I reached for it a couple of times and I was like, why haven't I used this more in the fall? Because I actually think this is a more of, again, this is another palette that came out in the spring that for me feels more like fall. And then you have the Bronze palette. I've talked about this palette. I talked about it as a great transition palette. I've talked about it, I think, as a great summer palette. It's all of those. It's a great palette. It's really won me over. I remember this is a palette that I talked so much crap about before I purchased it. And I was like, oh, bronze, groundbreaking. Bronze palette, Natasha Denona. This is a staple in my makeup wardrobe. I use this palette all the time to this day. Like when I'm like, I need to get ready quickly. I just need to throw on some eye makeup to look like I put some effort in. And I just want to, you know, I always say, minimal effort, maximum impact. This is the palette that I reach for. I can do 2 shades with this palette and I'm done. These are bronzy tones, but they're like rich fall, like these are like fall leaves, you know what I mean? Really rich, deep tones. You've got these deep, rich tones. This shade here is stunning. Absolutely stunning. This like beautiful, like, and then you've got this deep, deep, rich one. So this is rhodium, and rhodium is like silver but purple, perfect for fall, my friends. And it's a beautiful palette, and it works well for summer, which is when it was released, and it works well for fall, and it works well for like that transition when you don't know what you want to wear. Like I feel like this is perfect for that summer to fall transition. It's a beautiful palette. I think it's a great fall palette. And then 2 other palettes that I want to mention. And this one I've had for a while now, but I don't know if it's still available. I don't know. I know it's not available at Nars, on Nars's website, but I know that it was available on like Nordstrom Rack for a while. But I have to mention it because it is this palette. It's become one of my favorite palettes in my collection, and that is the Nars Climax palette. This is what it looks like. I mean, do I need to say more? Look at this. Look at this color story. That is fall in a nutshell. I love this palette. I love this palette. The formulation is stunning. It is, again, one of those palettes that you can do a quick look with, and it is definitely minimal effort, maximum impact. I love using this shade here. This is one of my faves, and I'll put this all over my lid with a little bit of this shade in my crease. And this is just these 2 shades. That's what I'll wear, and it'll look amazing, and it'll look like I did some work when really I just threw some shadows on my eyes really quickly. This is a beautiful, beautiful palette, and if you come across this at a Nordstrom Rack, buy it. It is worth it. Stunning palette. And then finally, this is one of the newer palettes to my collection, but I have to mention it because that's just how much I love it, and I think it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fall palette, and it is a tiny palette. It's a 5-pan palette. You guys have seen me talk about this. It is the new Natasha Denona Quint Bronze in Bronze Bliss. This is what it looks like. I've done a 4 looks 1 palette with this. I've done a first impressions with this. This palette is stunning. It is stunning. It's only $36, which is a steal from Pat McGrath. The shadows are amazing. If you want something that is really sort of minimalist, but also glam, but also grunge, that you can do 1 shadow looks with, this is the one for you. I am in love with this palette, and I still find myself being inspired by it, even though it seems like, you know, with you just get this black and gray and these bronze and golds, and you feel like, oh, well, what can I do with that? I can do 1 look with that. No, you can do many looks with this, and they are all stunning. I will try to leave a link to the video where I did 4 looks with this so you can see what I mean. But it is a beautiful palette. All right, guys, so those are the palettes that I'm adding to that original list. I didn't want to repeat myself by saying the same palettes, and I don't think I did, but because some of these are quite newer than the ones that I mentioned in that first video. But I wanted to add to that list because I've been thinking, I'm like, there are other palettes in my collection now that I would say are fantastic fall palettes. So let me know in the comments down below, do you own any of these palettes? Did I mention some of your favorite fall palettes? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to hit the like button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye now.